I am Steve Mignonti doing the junkyard crawl here in rural Vermont. A lot of folks might remember my days at Hot Rod Magazine from the late 1990s into the early 2000s when I was on staff. And in April of 2000 model year, or the April 2000 issue, we did this, the Bad Seed Chevette. We put a Cadillac 500 into a Chevy Chevette. That's me in the car doing a burnout. This is the only hot rod cover car ever with bird poop on the windshield. We didn't clear it off on purpose because we bought this thing at the junkyard for nothing. They gave it to us actually. And I went to the boneyard and I found a Caddy 500 and a Turbo 400 out of a Buick or a Pontiac application, which actually would fit up to the Cadillac block. Bought those things for nothing in the junkyard and put them in this car and made a little monster out of it. And here it is right here. I sat in the car because putting the Cadillac under the nose of that thing would have been pretty much useless, the tire spinner. But by putting the engine inside the car, you got a way better weight transfer and actually little tiny wheel stands off the line. And here's the roll cage. We had these things sent out to us. My neighbor Dale Cooch welded it up for me. That's Dale right there. He's still alive and well doing his thing. And basically, I took a Sawzall and took the entire firewall out of this thing, and he welded in a couple of braces to give some rigidity to the inner structure. And here's the inside of the car. It's the mock-up stage right here, the engine inside. And there's that Pontiac sourced Turbo 400 right there. John Kilgore rebuilt that transmission. And here's the engine bay after the Sawzall. The motor's out, big opening area right there. And then right here, the magic of that car was putting the engine in the middle right there. So it was about a third of the way back in the chassis, which gave almost 50-50 weight distribution. In fact, it was, what do we have? The weight distribution of this thing was 2,500 pounds on, it was, without driver, 2,500 pounds totally, but basically more mass on the tail than on the nose, which made for little wheel stands. And here's the motor mounts that we made up. It's basically a metal plate that Dale whipped up. We stuck it to the frame rail, and the stock front suspension was just fine, did the job just very well. And here's the transmission cross member that Dale made out of square tubing. I used the original Cadillac Y-pipe with a single exhaust coming under the car with a muffler even, because I lived in El Monte, California, and couldn't be freaking the neighbors out with, with loud noises and stuff, especially on Christmas Day when I test drove this thing for the first time. And here it is right here, the driver's cockpit, if you would, right there. And the steering, I used the original steering column. The brake master cylinder was repositioned upside down onto the floor and did the job great. The brake pedal came up out through the floor and it worked really well. And here's the strut that Dale put in between the spring towers so that it would limit the amount of cowl flex. And there was a lot of it, by the way. An aftermarket Be Cool aluminum radiator kept the Cadillac engine really nice and chilled without a water pump. It really worked pretty well. Here's a Dodge A100 van battery box right there, which I took out of the junkyard and put into the back to get more weight on the back. And the rear axle of this thing is kind of worthy of note. And this is something we did. We found a 1980 Caddy 500 with a small chamber, which gave us 12-to-1 compression. Crazy, but true. If you mix and match those things, that's what you get. And here I am at the junkyard, my 61 Plymouth Savoy four-door. The guy at the junkyard saying, what put the engine in the trunk of the car, brought it home on the 605 freeway. People are like, what the heck's that guy driving with an engine sticking out of the back of his 61 Plymouth? And the Plymouth was pink, by the way, which made it even more of an obstacle, an eyesore. And the rear suspension was kind of a trick. I used the original Chevette's leaf coil springs, but the leaf springs are from a Ford F-150 pickup truck, sawed in half, and here we have it right here. A Ford Pinto 8-inch rear axle with the coil spring mounted to a little shackle that goes on top of the leaf spring. And again, the leaf spring cut in half. It was also a spring and a traction bar. It had no axle hop, and the transverse bar, this panhard, this thing here from the Chevette axle, put it on the Ford axle there, did the job. And of course, the single exhaust system right there, the big muffler, blah, 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 blah. And it was kind of fun. The thing ran really well at Irwindale. Or at Palmdale, we had to rent the track, and the stock radiator was not going to do the job. So that's the stalker, junked it, threw it away. And this is my place, the El Monte, the Hillbilly Hell Ranch, we used to call it the cat farm. And that's in front of the place, the engine swap happening, I think on New Year's Day, somewhere around, 1999. And this is the April 2000 issue. So April Fools was the joke. And the thought was if it crapped out, it would have been a joke, and who cared? But it actually worked out really well. My editor at the time was Ro McGonigal, really a daring risk taker of an editor, a great guy to work with. And basically he says, yeah, do it. So for the second one of these things, for 2001, we were going to take a Ford Pinto, put the motor in the middle, a motor out of a 460 Lincoln, and do it again. the wind kind of came out of the sails by that point in time. I have to say, this thing tanked on the newsstand, and subsequent editor Dave Freiberg never kind of forgave me for making this thing happen. I mean, he liked the car, but he didn't like the idea that Roe put it on the cover because it killed newsstand. But again, it's the only car on Hot Rod on the cover that had bird poop on it on purpose. So there you have, that's the story of the Bad Seed Chevette. In fact, if you go to this YouTube channel you're watching now, go to the archives and go to videos and watch the one called Battle of the Vets. It's actually the old Hot Rod Magazine TV. We actually got an episode of that, Battle of the Vets. We took a bunch of new Corvettes, not new Corvettes, but restored Vets, an LT1, a 454, et cetera, a 427 car, and brought my Vet out there. And the Corvette, the Cadillac-powered Chevette nuked the actual 427 and LT1 Corvettes quite handily at Palmdale. It's pretty funny to watch. So if you watch that on my YouTube channel, go to the archive and go for Battle of the Vets, or just Google it maybe on just YouTube, Battle of the Vets, Hot Rod Magazine TV, if you can find it. It's a laugh, and it puts this whole story into action. So that's the story of the Bad Seed. And one thing too, the rear tires on this thing, I didn't use traditional drag slicks, but rather the world of import drag racing. Honda drag races like small, short tires, but wide ones. It's like some 13-inch diameter tires, had them mounted on some custom wheels. They're about 8 inches wide, but they hooked that thing up crazy. There were M&H slicks on the back of the thing, and they hooked it right up. Quick burnout, and it would yank the front tire like that. Without slicks, the car would do a pirouette, just spinning the stock tires. It was funny. In fact, if you watch the Battle of the Vets, the episode closes with me going into the horizon in a cloud of tire smoke. It's a great piece of footage the cameraman captured. So that's the story of the Bad Seed Chevette. By popular demand, I came back to the Chevettes and told you the story of the Bad Seed. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the Steve Maggs YouTube channel, and we'll see you tomorrow for more Junkyard Crawl. Thanks for watching.